Hi everyone, today I just want to talk around me moving to Norway, and I think I've got a lot of good tips if you're thinking about moving abroad. I'm very much under the impression that we're never too old to move abroad. It was genuinely up there with one of the best decisions I ever made, and it's something that I did actually work on, and I'll go through maybe moving there and maybe a few lessons learnt and how I ended up back in Norway. And on my new channel here, I just want to speak about different experiences and maybe tips and lessons learnt and just all sorts different from my alcohol-free living channel. And when I graduated in 2005, I ended up getting the opportunity to work at an oil company, and it was a Norwegian oil company, service company. And pretty much what you did back then, and if you were from Aberdeen, was you go and get your degree or your honours degree and you get a job in the oil. I remember it paying twice as much as the graduate jobs in Edinburgh at the time where I was studying, and ended up moving up to Aberdeen to finish off my studies just to get into the oil industry. And to be honest, the money was pretty crap in the beginning, but you know what it's like when you get your first job, you don't really care how much it was. I think it was paid through an agency and it was maybe only about 10 quid an hour, not even that, but I absolutely loved it. I was still living at home, and after 2 years working in Aberdeen, and I'd lived there since I was probably about 4 or 5 years old, I think, maybe a bit younger, I just really wanted to move. I just had this thirst to move to a different country, experience different things, and just the thought of moving to Norway was just something that it was always a dream of mine. And it was quite, by a bit of chance and a bit of effort, I'd made the conscious decision to just get myself out there, in the sense that just tell everybody that I was keen to move to Norway. And I really wanted to move to Norway at one point, and luckily enough a project came up that I was working on. I got asked to go over for a couple of weeks, and it just another reminder that sometimes you just got to get yourself out there, you got to get yourself known, and there's no shame in that at all. And 2 weeks turned into 9 months. And at the end of the 9 months, during that maybe 9-10 months, I think it was, I lived in the Plaza Hotel for around 4 or 5 months. I lived in the Radisson Scandinavia for 4 months, and lived in a Grand Hotel as well. And it's just, you would think that living in a hotel for that long is amazing. And I was flying back most weekends as well. So apart from getting an incredible amount of air miles, I pretty much, was over there and just kind of living the life, I guess. I would have only have been, maybe about 25 at the time. And after that project finally finished, my boss had asked me to go over and move there full time. And that's not a coincidence either. I worked really hard. I was always done my job well. And again, it's just an example of putting yourself out there. And it was just, at the time I had bought an apartment, and like I say, I didn't want to go back. Had really itchy feet. I was young and kind of enthusiastic, and I'd had that feeling that you get where you think that you'll end up just treading water and you'll blink and you'll be 50 years old. And I really wanted to get over there, and I ended up moving, and it was just the best thing ever. And I can't recommend it enough. The first 3 months I went over there, they were quite difficult, of course, with not knowing anybody and just trying to get everything sorted was just a bit of a nightmare. And getting your social security number sorted, all this stuff took time. But I'll tell you, there's nothing better than moving to a different city or a different country, and it's 6 months in, and your mobile phone's sorted, and you've got your internet connection sorted, and all your furniture's maybe moved over. You're kind of settled into your job as well. You know how all the buses, etc. work. You've got your transport card sorted, and that's you there. And it's just honestly one of the greatest feelings ever. And I don't think there's much that tops that, because I think everyone or most people have a dream about at least moving somewhere And just to get there and accomplish that goal is a brilliant feeling. And there are challenges there, but I think it's fun. I remember trying to make friends over there, and you pretty much, even though the offices are big, you get kind of work friends as well, but you have to get yourself out there again. It's just not saying no to anything. And even back then, I don't think, when I first moved over full time, it would have been maybe 2007. I don't think there was much kind of Facebook and stuff like that there, and FaceTimes, etc. So if you got invited to the pub quiz, you just kind of went. And the work life over in Norway was just second to none. And when I worked in Aberdeen, it was definitely a 9 to 5. You were in Monday to Friday. That was it, no excuses. And in Norway, it was so flexible, with the unions being so strong. A lot of people worked 7 till 3. The holidays were great. They had amazing team buildings. You could do any course you wanted to do. And they just really, really looked after their staff. The pensions were great. The salaries were great. And it was just, I think it was just genuinely an amazing time to be alive. It's just, I think that was maybe the tail end of kind of social media coming in and the world maybe changing a bit. But I think it's just, that was probably, the end. And I don't know if you've ever been to Oslo before. The weather was very seasonal, which was great. There was the winter you would get with the snow, and everyone would be skiing and snowboarding, and then spring comes and it's like a proper spring. It starts heating up, and the summers were absolutely brilliant. Everyone would take 4, 5, 6 months off, the Norwegians, and they would do their thing, and the weather would go up to maybe 30 odd degrees, and it'd be sunny for a week, 2 weeks in a row, and then autumn comes in after that, and it's the leaves falling off, just stunning. And that would pretty much just repeat itself, and you could fly all over the place for cheap from Oslo as well. And the good thing about living in an expensive country is you get paid really well in the local currency. And so when I came back to the UK, or I would go over to Poland for the weekend, or you're flying anywhere, it just felt so cheap. I remember going back to Edinburgh, a lot of weekends Ryanair would fly. You could buy a £9.99 return on the sale, which is absolutely wild, from Oslo Torp Airport, which is basically about an hour and 20 minutes from Oslo, so it's a bit of a con as usual. But for £9.99 return, you can't argue with it. And I'd fly back to the UK, back to Edinburgh, and it would just be, even going to the nice places, it would still feel like happy hour. And I think over in Norway and Scandinavia in general, they've just got it absolutely sorted. The work life's brilliant, especially in Oslo. Norway kind of feels like a bit like they're cheating, because they've got that, $1.5 trillion oil fund, something like that. But even in the winter, everything still ran, because everyone had winter tires, and the pensions are great, and the work life was great, the work balance was great, and just going out at night, it was so safe, everywhere was so clean, and you could just jump across to Sweden in no time, and it was just an amazing, amazing time. And I bet you there's people watching this wondering if I should do the same, and I've got friends as well that always say it's too late, but I don't think it's too late at all. The big difference these days when you're moving abroad is, I think it's just so much easier than it was back 20, 30 years ago. Even moving your stuff, loads of agencies will help you as well, and you get digital nomad visas and different visas if you've got a business over here. And even keeping in touch with friends and family, you can jump on a FaceTime, just jump on WhatsApp and video call people. The world's just a smaller place, and especially if you're living in Europe, you can, pretty much any time of the day, there'll be a flight somehow to get home. So if there is an emergency, you can just jump on that plane and get home. And like I say, going back to the very beginning, it was just something that I really wanted to do and tick off my kind of bucket list. And luckily for me, I ended up back in Edinburgh, and I love living here and I love the city. And for me, not being from here as well, even though it's in the same country, Scotland obviously, same country as Aberdeen, which is about 2.5 hours on the train away from Edinburgh. For me, it still feels like I'm kind of living abroad. It's a really international city. A lot of tourists, a lot of universities, and I just think with the mix of maybe the history of the city, the tourism, the international students, etc. It's just a really, really good mix of people, and I think it's really kept its identity as well. And just a final message, if you are considering moving out of the UK, and I know a lot of people are just now, and I don't blame you, to be honest, with everything that's going on, just do it. You know, you might not be able to do it tomorrow. You might, not have enough cash at the moment, but make it a 2-year plan, a 5-year plan, maybe even a retirement plan. I don't plan to stay here forever. Maybe when I'm 55, 60, I want to move somewhere else, and just don't rush it. You see, there's so many YouTube videos out there about people just up in sticks and going, and from all completely different walks of life, and it's just a brilliant thing you can do that I highly recommend, and it's just an amazing chapter in your life going abroad. And like I say, once you get settled, it's just a wonderful thing. Just waking up in the morning, you're in a different city, you've got your flat sorted. It's just incredible. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video from my new channel. My other channel is Bryn Lee Alcohol Free Living, and just really interested to make some different content over here. So if you've got any suggestions, stick them in the comments. Be great to hear if you've moved abroad or if you're planning on moving abroad, and I'll answer all the comments as I normally do. And hope you have a great day, a great evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.